My younger sister got married in November, and our mom's husband walked her down the aisle. My sister did not want him. She wanted me. She said no repeatedly in the beginning. The pressure and fear that Mom would skip her wedding is the reason she relented in the end. Mom has been married to her husband since my sister was 6, and she had a lot of pressure on her to ask him because he tried to be a good father to her, and he stepped up and was there and paid for food and roof, etc. Sister didn't have him pay for the wedding or her college education, but she knew she would be judged harshly for not asking him when he wanted to, and he'd been in her life for so long. On the wedding day, my sister was crying on my shoulder about how upset she was he was walking her and not me. She wished Dad was there, etc. Mom's husband overheard everything and walked her anyway. Then, the next day, he and my mom heard her and my brother-in-law talking about it, how much she hated the experience, and how she wanted to wipe it from her memory. My mom and her husband are offended. I think he was hurt that she was so upset by him doing it, but they weren't happy she was so upset and bothered by him doing it. My mom tried to drag me into their anger, and I told her I wasn't angry. Then they both claimed I should have more respect for him as the man who stepped up when Dad died. I was 15 when he and my mom got married, so he played a very small role in my life. I told my mom's husband he got what he wanted, which was him walking my sister down the aisle. They needed to leave my sister alone because she had every right to be unhappy when they pressured her. He argued that she was his little girl and this was hard for him. I told him he never listened because she had never ever claimed to be his little girl. She had always seen herself as our dad's daughter, and he will never be our dad. They told me I overstepped, and my mom claimed I should understand why it was insulting to them that my sister reacted as she did. Am I the idiot for telling my mom and her husband they got what they wanted? Not the idiot. They got what they wanted, knowing she didn't want it. Now they're making it all about them when it isn't about them. Your sister may go no contact with them. Mom and her husband forced themselves in this situation and now trying to drag you in. To be honest, she should have let Mom skip her wedding. She really chose her husband over her daughter. People who make threats like this never follow through since it would look bad. The stepfather in this case is a major idiot. He obviously doesn't know his stepdaughter well enough to know what she wants. He doesn't respect what she wants, and after she gives him what he wants, he's angry because she dared to have her own feelings. Pathetic. He and your mom apparently cared more about appearances. She replaced her husband doesn't mean he replaced your dad. Ask Mom if your sister should replace her with her new mother-in-law since she thinks one parent figure is easy to substitute for another. Your mom never heard her own daughter over the years. They obviously made her wedding all about his needs instead of your sister's. At her own wedding, that he didn't even pay for. Your sister has a right to be angry. I, 25 female, and my husband, 28, have been together for almost 6 years and have a child together, a female toddler. So let's put it straight. I'm not a stay-at-home parent and neither is my husband. He works in law and I work in property. I love my job, and one of my biggest concerns when having children was that I wouldn't be able to continue working. Well, after my daughter was born, I had 6 months of maternity leave, then continued working. I work in an office most of the time, and quite often my daughter can come with me. This all happened last night when my husband came home from work. It was about 8 p.m. and I was trying to get my daughter to sleep. However, she's currently got bad chickenpox and is not sleeping well at all. My husband came in and I asked if he could make dinner as my daughter wouldn't be sleeping for a while and I didn't have the energy to cook right now. After an hour or so, I came downstairs tired and hungry, hoping that my husband had made dinner so I could just go to bed. Well, he hadn't. He was sat at the table saying he was waiting for me to make dinner as he was getting hungry. I told him I'd just spent the last hour and a half looking after our daughter and trying to get her to sleep and he was doing nothing. He responded, "Then what's a wife for if she can't look after you? This house is a mess. Dinner isn't made. What do you even do around here?" In a bit more colourful terms. I didn't have the strength or energy to argue with him, so I just went off to bed. But he's calling me the idiot, and his mother is on his side, sending angry messages to me like, "I knew you were never good enough for my son," and "It's the wife's job to look after the babies and house. Stop trying to make him do that." So, am I the idiot? Editing to add, before kids we didn't live together. We got married when my daughter was 9 months old and moved in together about a month or two before I got pregnant. I used to enjoy cooking, so that was never a big issue, and my apartment was always a mess before and after he moved in. Not the idiot. He's a giant child to go crying to mommy. Let me tell you how a real man should be. I work full-time, more than full-time usually. My wife is a stay-at-home mom with our newborn. I do almost all of the grocery shopping and errands. I do most of the dishes. I do some laundry. I do the fixing of crap around the house. I do a heck of a lot more things. Why? Because that's life. She's busy with crap too. Just because what she does doesn't earn cash, it saves us money. Tell his butt to man the heck up. Look, even if you were a stay-at-home mom, your child has chicken pox. He's more than capable of cooking his own dinner. He has a sick child, so he should assist you and take the load off. You have done absolutely nothing wrong. Block your mother-in-law and have a long, hard conversation with your husband about expectations. He does not get to sit around and do nothing while you're caring for a sick child. Yeah, does he have a condition which renders him incapable of rational thought? Does he cling to the old-fashioned belief that only women can cook, care for children and clean? If that's the case, an amputation is in order, the kind where the misogynist spouse is amputated from the marriage. You work in to flourish between us all, and at the least, the appropriate respect to be shown to every household member. My son has been resistant to being part of the family. He had grief therapy after his mom died, and he was still in therapy when I met my wife. I communicated with him and allowed him to speak to me about any reservations he had, but he didn't say anything. So we got married and blended our families. Only he goes out of his way to not spend time as a family and is resistant to a time when it's not just him and me. He always says no to spending time with his step-siblings. He calls himself an only child and claims he has only one parent since his mom died. He's rude at times. Sometimes he'll ignore a question from his step-siblings, or he'll tell my wife she's not his mom and she doesn't get to ask to see his homework. She does this sometimes if she's the only adult at home and makes sure the kids have their homework done. We decided family therapy could be beneficial, and for the first few weeks it was going okay. He admitted he didn't love my wife or stepchildren, which was fine. He was open that he didn't like me getting remarried, which I did suspect. But hearing him say it was a sign of communication, which I did want us to have in therapy. Yesterday, things got out of hand. We all got to speak over the weeks and be honest about our feelings and what we wanted to work on. Yesterday, the therapist suggested some things to help us come together a bit more as a family, such as some homework that could give us a chance to spend time together just having fun. My son said he wasn't going to take part. The therapist told him it wouldn't be some lame time where it only focused on the younger kids because he was aware that activities being aimed at only the younger siblings would be a drag. But he should try to be open to having fun, at least in the presence of us all. My son said we can't do it because we're not real family, that his step-siblings are not his real siblings, and my wife is not his real mom or his stepmom or his family. He was very angry. My stepkids left the session upset and my son was still angry. I spoke to him and asked him why he had to be so harsh, and he said it's true that he doesn't give a crap about them. I told him he should find better ways to communicate his feelings, and for his outbursts he could say goodbye to video games for a week. My son told his maternal grandparents, and they told me I had no right to punish him for that. They said I shouldn't be forcing him to attend therapy either. They told me it was time to accept he wanted nothing to do with my wife or stepkids. Am I the idiot? Holy shiznits, Batman, you are the idiot. Do you seriously think that punishing your son for being honest, in a therapy session nonetheless, is going to make him suddenly pivot and start wanting to be part of your little blended dream family? You cannot force relationships and bonds between people. All you're doing is building even more resistance and resentment. You should never punish your son for speaking his feelings openly during therapy. It's completely counterproductive and will only make things worse if your son feels you're using family therapy as a way to bully and silence him. His son will never say his true feelings in family therapy again. Damage is done. He's not there to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. He's obviously having trouble adjusting, and you force him to fit the mold you've deemed acceptable, and then punishing him when he expresses himself will do more damage than anything else. This was a major failure of you as a parent. Do better. Dude, your teen son isn't ready to move in this direction because you didn't properly prepare him for this new dynamic, and that would be your fault and not his. You need to back the heck off. But for all the damage done, you've probably lost him forever on this family, as he will be 18 soon and will solve his issue on his own by moving out and going no contact with you. And I can honestly say I don't blame him in the least. My female 27 brother 34 and his fiancée female 31 are getting married soon. My husband and I got our invitation and it's all fine. However, this is the problem I'm having with them. I'm not a bridesmaid or in the bridal party because I have a baby, and as she's very young, 4 months now, I was either pregnant or with a newborn during most of the wedding planning. It was for the best. So I'm just a regular guest like everyone else, right? Well, my brother and his fiancée came over a few days after they sent the invitations because they wanted to talk to me. My future sister-in-law basically told me she's got a dress for me and she'd love for me to wear it for their wedding. I was kind of like, okay, thanks. But why? You know? At first, she didn't want to tell me why they'd chosen a dress for me, but finally she told me that I tend to draw too much attention to myself. Last year, our other brother got married and my future sister-in-law thinks she doesn't want to risk having me show up similarly to their wedding. By the way, I wasn't wearing an inappropriate dress or white or anything like that. I was wearing a normal, formal dress. I was very confused by this, and I asked what she meant because, as I said, I know how to dress up for a wedding. I reassured her she shouldn't worry about being outshined because, for starters, it's her wedding day, and everyone will be paying attention to the bride and groom. And secondly, I won't wear an inappropriate dress with like too much cleavage or something. Her family is relatively conservative, so I thought maybe she was more scared of her family's reactions. We discussed this for a while and she told me that the problem is my weight. She's a little overweight and I'm not. I always had problems gaining weight even while pregnant, so she feels insecure and that's why she wants me to wear a dress that would cover me completely. This is where I think I might be the idiot. I told her that her insecurities were not my problem and that asking me to wear a certain dress because I'm skinnier than her was weird. She told me that she knew I'd have this reaction because, supposedly, I always want to be the focus of attention. She also said that my life has always been easier and it's not fair that I want to steal her wedding day as well. I asked her if she was doing this with every other woman who was skinnier attending the wedding and she said no, so I told her that's a crappy move. We argued and then my husband and brother got in between us, so they argued as well, and finally we kicked them out. But not before I told them to enjoy their damn day because I wasn't attending the wedding, for which they accused me of being a drama queen and wanting to embarrass them by not going. Well, I'm calmer now, but this has caused quite a fight in our family as well. I admit that I was so tired and stressed that day because my baby had been sick all the prior day and night. Am I the idiot? Edit, she actually had the dress with her since she intended for me to try it on. It's hideous, not my style at all. It's like something Queen Elizabeth II would wear. Not the idiot, and I agree with your decision not to attend the wedding. Sister-in-law can give any explanation she wants for why you're not there. Still, I would definitely answer honestly if anyone asked why you didn't attend. I'm sorry, but I didn't make the weight requirement for this event. She was over the top obnoxious. I feel sorry for her soon-to-be husband. If the situation had been reversed and you'd been asking her to wear something specific because of her weight, you would have been accused of fat-shaming. It was very rude of them to ask what they did. I could understand if you had a habit of turning up to this kind of event in a bikini, but you didn't. You dress appropriately, so it's all down to her jealousy. If Meghan Markle can deal with having the Queen and future Queen at her wedding, your sister-in-law can deal with having you there. I have 2 daughters, young teen, and 1 son, tween. My husband recently left me and while he does pay child support, I'm no longer able to afford a 4-bedroomed house with only one person providing income. So we had to downsize into a 3-bedroomed house. I gave my daughters the master bedroom while I took the second largest room and gave a job, and I think giving up the master was a good compromise. Should I move into the living room? Am I favouring my son? Am I the idiot? Holy crap, no, you are not the idiot. I mean, I'm impressed you gave up the master bedroom. You're paying for the house they're all living in, so giving the girls the master bedroom is generous of you. Ask your daughters which one of them wants to share a bedroom with their brother, since you obviously don't have enough bedrooms for everyone, and for them to even suggest that the head of the household and person paying for everyone to survive to take the couch. Ask them which of them are going to pay rent or mortgage, food, utilities, etc. They're teenagers. They're going to complain. You're doing a great job, OP. Keep doing what you're doing and be the amazing parent you already are. Honestly, I'd put the 2 in the second largest bedroom and take the master back for yourself. Tell them you'll consider changing back when they apologize and realize that giving them the master bedroom was already you putting them above yourself. If any 2 of the 3 of them were boys or girls, they would be the ones to share a room. That's part of considering their privacy. It's got nothing to do with favoritism. Rather than you moving into the living room, your friend should move their head out of their butt. What a ridiculous thing to suggest.